Hey, friends, welcome back to Guitar Quackery Live. I'm not even sure if I should be doing this live stream because I have a developing situation. I had to cut the previous live stream short because of the situation that was unfolding. I received two text messages. One was about personal, actually they were both personal. One was about a friend that he didn't really get laid off, but he lost a position somewhere, reassigned to something else, but for stupid reasons. I don't want to get into it because I can't share details without sharing details that I don't want to share. And the other one was the concerning one, which was why I had to cut the live stream short. So that's that. So I'm going to continue this. I might be getting updates on the phone. I might be getting a call from the police. I don't know. Well, this is the Ask a Tech live stream attempt. And now I need to continue working. So, yeah. All right, so I need to do a setup on the guitar, but before the setup, I need to do like some other work as well. As a nut repair, obviously I'm going to also polish the frets. So we have a situation. I need to make a decision. The customer wants me to put 9s on this guitar. The guitar now has 10s on. So I'm going to cut the nut for 9s, which means I cannot really do it with the old strings on because I'm going to use narrower files so that we can do this that way. Sometimes you can put 10s on a guitar that has 9s on. It just depends, really. I don't want to get into it, how the string slots were cut. I'm just not in the mood to get into all those details right now. Like I said, the situation might be still unfolding, and I might be getting some calls. But here's the thing. I can cut the string slots on the treble side because they would use the same exact files. So the strings are too high on the nut. String slots are too high. Yeah, let's try to do that. Okay. So this live stream is experimental. It's supposed to be Ask a Tech. And in today's episode, it's supposed to be about ask me anything you want to know about setups on a Tele, which is what I have on the bench right now. I have this Tele. There was a question about the saddles right before I had to cut the live stream short. So the question was, do these saddles change the tone? Oh man, that's kind of a question that I was hoping not to get into like a tone conversation. I don't know. It's not a technical question. Those are brass saddles. So do they change the tone? From what to what? I mean, one thing that you can do on a guitar that's going to change the tone noticeably is change the strings. Old strings sound like this. When you put a fresh set of strings, the guitar sounds like that, completely different, the tone. So that I can hear always. whether or not I can hear if it would change the tone if I put new saddles on. I don't know. How would we know that? Well, I'd have to put saddles on the same exact guitar with the same exact strings on. I'd have to remember what it sounded like before I was doing this changing of the saddles and somehow commit that to memory, the tone, and then play the same strings with different saddles on the same guitar through the same amp at the same setting, and somehow recall from memory what it sounded like before I changed the saddles and compare it to what it sounds like now. And I wouldn't want to count on a recording, because when you are recording something, there's a whole other set of variables that are introduced. Basically, how are you recording it? What are your settings? Your gain settings, your this settings, that setting, what mic? So, I don't know. But when I change the strings on a guitar, I can hear the difference. I can hear that those are new strings. All right, so this string slot is too high, and I'm just going to cut it lower a bit, just a bit, so it's slanted in this direction like that. And now I'll put the string back. So this is clearly not a very successful live stream. Oh, I have a viewer that just joined. So styrene builds. I can tell the difference with new strings. Yeah. So so this isn't showing me that anyone is even watching. It says 0 viewers, but I clearly got a message. And now it says 1 viewer. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know how much of it you heard that I was saying, including the beginning of this live stream, which I was saying this is a continuation of a live stream that I attempted about an hour ago, a little bit over an hour ago. I received 2 text messages. One of them was, both of them were unfortunate. One of them was a friend of mine kind of lost a job, kind of. Basically, he's a security guard, and they didn't lay him off, but they said, you won't work at this store anymore, you work at the other store, whatever. He's just a friend. So he's just complaining about how it all happened. But that's not the important message. That's not why I had to cut the live stream short. The other message that I got was a developing situation, and it had to involve the police. And I might be getting a call from the police, I'm not sure, during this live stream, and I've been waiting for the call. So if I do get a call from the police, I might need to cut it short again. I don't know. Sorry. It's life. This is an active repair shop, and I just happen to be doing a live stream. And this is the first time that I'm attempting to do a Ask a Tech live stream. It's an idea that I had on my mind for a month or 2. I think it would be very beneficial for the community. So today's topic is Ask a Tech about setups on a Tele. And here's the Tele. Here it is. Another day could be another topic, and you could ask anything you want me to explain about setups on a Tele. I don't really want to talk about tone, but setups. So yeah, I think it should be a good thing for the guitar playing community, especially for those who like to tinker. So I basically show you how I work on the guitar. So I'm doing more than the setup. Here I am, in fact, filing the string slots on the nut. We have a little bit of an issue because these are 10s and I need to file the nut for 9s. But these 3 string slots take the exact same files. So there is no 9-gauge file, there's only a 10. All right? This would use a 13-gauge file regardless which, if you take strings from 10s or 9s, and this would use a 17-gauge file again regardless. So I can do these 3. I'm going to do these 3 later when I put the actual strings on. So this is still a little bit too high. I can just eyeball it, but if I if I take a measurement, it is in fact too high. I need to put the camera like this so you can see the dial indicator if I happen to use it, which I could do now. So this is the dial indicator. I already filed this string a little bit. So we're measuring the gap between the first fret and the bottom of the string after I push the string against the second fret. So that gap that remains when I push the string down, I'm going to place the dial indicator here on the string. The first string is always tricky because it's right at the edge. But here. So I'm pushing it against the second fret, and now this is against the first fret. You can see that it's a lot more than 2 to 5 check marks. And I honestly don't need to use the dial indicator to see that. But here, I just showed you. So when we file a nut, we need to be careful not to file it too deep, right? But here, I just look, and when it gets outside of the comfort zone, visual comfort zone, that's when I start measuring. To save time, obviously. There's no reason to measure now, except for a video. I'm also going to be polishing the frets, so I will only do kind of like a rough job filing this and finish it with the actual strings on. Because when we polish frets, we remove a little bit of material. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to level off just a little bit to do like a complete fret tress. So I don't want to be spending too much time now on the nut if I'm going to have to touch it up anyway. Which means I will just eyeball the whole thing for now. And honestly, any experienced tech can just eyeball this job anyway. It's really not required to be using this. I like to use it, but I've also done it without. So this is coming close to, it's still in what I would call my comfort zone. Although for maybe some less experienced techs, it might be too close for comfort, too close to the fret. But I work on guitar nuts every single day, so I know what my comfort zone is, where it is. And you see, because I'm not measuring every time, I can do this quickly, relatively. So maybe this live stream should have been Ask a Tech about filing a guitar knot instead of about doing a setup on a Tele. But I am going to be doing a setup on a Tele. So I want to just answer questions about doing a setup on a Tele. So if you have any questions, ask them in the chat, live chat. I will read it. Periodically, I'll read the chat, and then I'll try to answer questions. I think it's a good idea to do a Ask a Tech live stream. But I need to find a day of the week and time of day and do it on a scheduled basis so that people can expect that. I'm thinking, you know, after work, because I work late, so people want to join these live streams sometime after work. So this is really close now. It's still a little higher than I might want it to be. It looks that way. And like I said, I'm going to work on the frets. But here we have, man, it's right slipping right there. There is definitely a little gap. The first string is right there, and sometimes I really can't put this, but I'll show you. I have another way of showing you that there is, in fact, a little gap there. Where's my thing? Oh, there. Right. So this set of feeler gauges has this one feeler gauge that's 20 microns, really thin. And like this, you can see that there's a gap. Right? It still passes through. Right? So we usually want a little gap. Let me check something. All right. I run my computer on battery power, my laptop, and I don't like to drain it all the way. I don't like to charge it all the way up, because Apple doesn't want their users, their own customers, to be able to change a battery. All right, so now this one, the B string, once again, we'll see that it's, I place it here, so here it's easier to measure, right? It's high, right? So I push it down against the second fret right there with the thumb, and this is what's left. So, too high. So I do these live streams. Yeah, I've been doing live streams every week, but I am starting this new idea, Ask a Tech. So this isn't really now an assigned project to an assigned project playlist. It's a casual live stream and a discussion. A new idea. And I guess I have 4 viewers now, and no one's asking me any questions about setups on a Tele. Of course, I I am a little stressed because of the thing that happened. Why I had to cut the previous live stream short. And I don't know if I should expect a call from the police or what. What is happening? Let me just send a quick text here. 3 question marks. All right. So these live streams are happening from an active workshop from the workbench. And it looks like I have a question. Let me see. Oh, it's Dr. Steve Cassidy. Ah, see, that's a question. It's not really a tech question. Dr. Steve Cassidy is asking, what's your preference? 6 saddles versus 3 barrel? Well, it's going to depend which 3 barrel, because some of them are compensated. I kind of like to have proper compensation. So I like 6 saddles. That's my preference. And I can live with 3 barrel, actually the compensated ones. Yeah. But that's not a tech question. That's a personal question. Personal preference question. Okay, Dr. EC is asking me, I have a Squire Telecaster. I recently changed strings for the first time and the ferrules just fell out. Is there anything I can do to keep them in? Very good question. So for those of you who might be new to the guitar world, the world of guitars, the ferrules are these things that Dr. EC is referring to. Okay, these things here. I have one here somewhere. I do have one here. Hold on a second. Let me find one so I can show it. Where is it? So it's going to depend. Oh, here it is. It's going to depend how loose they are, right? So this is a ferrule. And I just want to be in focus. So what can you do to make sure they don't fall out? It's really annoying when they do fall out. Well, couple of things you can do. So that's a really good question. And now I'm committed to answering your questions. So one thing that some techs like to do is plumber's tape. It's a bit annoying because the width of it isn't the same as the width of the ferrule, of the string ferrule. But let me show you. So I can't show you on the guitar because these are not falling off. Or maybe they will be falling off once I remove the strings. I don't really know. But you can see that the width of the tape isn't the same, right? All right, but still, it can kind of work. So you should always cut the tape first when you do this. So once again, let me show you. So if you use this method, it's plumber's tape. Plumber's Teflon tape. So it depends how much tape you need, how much thickness you need to add to the diameter, right? And honestly, you kind of need to experiment. So always cut it first, and you're going to need to try to stretch it. And you can do some cutting of the tape. It gets a little messy sometimes, but here it is. You can fold it even. Yeah. This is too much tape now. And when you stretch the tape, it can kind of stick to each other, onto itself. So you kind of want to keep it like this, so that as you can see, you have this situation happening going this way. And now we want to cut it, so we kind of stretched it, and you see we're going to cut it. Like that. And I like to cut it a little bit at an angle. Let me focus this. I didn't cut it at an angle, but okay. I wanted to cut it a little bit at an angle like this, right? But you want it to kind of wrap around this way. So now when you push it in, you know, you just added some thickness to this ferrule. Now, this might be too much for some situations, I don't know. In which case, you might actually want to cut this tape in half instead of folding it. So now I can't cut this in half anymore because it already stuck onto itself. But you see, you would cut it in half to get this width. It's actually better to do it that way to cut it, okay? And what else can you do? Well, the other thing that you can do, very simple, is just to put a little bit of glue. So the glue that I would use might be this one, or it might be, or it might be, and I would just put just a little bit, maybe here and on the other side. You're going to get a little squeeze out, and then you just take a Q-tip. I have Q-tips here, so when you get squeeze out, you just go around the ferrule. So let's say if there's the ferrule with a Q-tip to pick it up, you put the strings in right away. That's it. So those are kind of things that you can do. And it's really annoying when they fall out. And you could be asking, let me see if there's another question. Okay, Dr. Steve Cassidy. 6 was the correct answer. Yes. I like the 6 saddles. I even I was making saddles, brass saddles, for a while. I don't have any here, but yeah, I have made a whole bunch of them. So if you lose the ferrules, there is a trick. So this is the trick. So this is a ball end from a bass string. And this is a string, right? So the string goes through. And then this is going to end up seated inside of the wooden hollow portion, right? So that's gonna, in a pinch, that's going to replace the ferrule, right? So if you lost the ferrule, you can use this from a bass string, a bass guitar, right? Because otherwise, obviously, this is how it works. And, you know, I don't even know if this fits inside here. No, it doesn't. It should, you know. But it does fit inside of the hole because it's smaller than this. You can see that. All right? So this is why I save these string ends from bass guitars, I mean ball ends, because sometimes I get guitars without ferrules and I don't have them maybe available, and then I can just use this. Let me see. Any more questions? Not at the moment. Okay. So I guess I did figure out how to read comments live. So I want to try to promote this new idea, this Ask a Tech live stream idea. It's for all of you who like to learn how to work on your own guitars. I'm not really I don't think that it's bad for my business to answer these questions. I mean, I do go on guitar forums and I answer questions all the time. But I need to do that on my own time, right? And here I can do it while I work, so it doesn't cost me anything. And if I can help someone, well, that's a good thing. Yeah, so I think it would mostly attract viewers who just like to work on their own guitars. And right now I have 4 active viewers. So I'm not really making a big impact in our community. Sorry, I do need to, because this police involvement, I need to follow up on this. So, unbelievable. The police, it's been over an hour. They haven't come yet on a domestic emergency. Okay, well, they must be busy. I don't know. So, for all of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I was doing a live stream. The first part of this live stream, I had to cut it short because I received 2 text messages, and one of them was this thing about the police. Well, about something else, but the police had to be called, 911. So I'm just following up. So, if someone is concerned for their safety, it's a legit call. It's a legit 911 call. But honestly, I'm surprised that the police haven't arrived yet. Not here, different location. Because a 911 call was made almost 2 hours ago. It was not a level 1 emergency, okay? But like I said, if someone is concerned for their safety, yeah, it's a legit call. That's what these services are for. But I live in the big city. Sometimes there's so much going on. The police just can't respond to little things. All right. Any more tech questions? Okay, so Dr. Steve Cassidy, I see a question mark at the end. Not a specific tele question, but what are your thoughts on brass nuts and any advice on a layman buying and installing one? So, doctor, you missed the beginning of the first live stream, because I was wondering if I should be answering only questions about, you know, doing setups on the Tele or any other general questions. And I think, so let's say like this, let me say it, in the future, I think it would be best to only answer those questions. But okay, so I'm going to answer this question because, you know, because it's Dr. Steve Cassidy. Got to answer his questions. What's the question again? My thoughts on a brass nut and any advice on a layman buying and installing one. Okay, yeah. Okay, my thoughts on a brass nut. It's not the best material for the nut, for sure. It's definitely not self-lubricating. In fact, I've seen brass nuts that are kind of not functioning well because there's a whole like buildup of corrosion inside. So I guess if people sweat more, I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of green stuff sometimes inside of those string slots. Not the very bottom of it where the string is anchored at the bottom of the string slot. It really depends how it's shaped. So I wonder why people want that, a brass nut. And honestly, I don't know. So in terms of filing a brass nut with these diamond files, it's not a problem. I mean, brass does not clog up the diamond files. Tusk does, and Tusk Excel, but not brass. It's easy to clean the file. But in terms of a layman installing a brass nut or any nut, there's a learning curve, and it's very easy to mess up a nut. So I think a brass nut, when you buy a blank, is more expensive. So I don't think it's the best one to practice on, I guess. Also keep in mind that we're not just filing the string slots, we're also fitting it. So we need to prep the nut shelf. It needs to be completely clean. The corners need to be completely clean. And that nut needs to be seated. And, you know, if you're really lucky, you can fit the nut inside of the nut shelf so tightly that you don't even need any glue. And it doesn't come off like that. You kind of need to, you know, use more force to get it to come out without any glue. So that's the best case scenario. And even very experienced luthiers and technicians can't always guarantee that they will get it that way. I mean, yeah, they can get it that way if they mess up and then try another one. But yeah, that's, you know, that's an advanced skill level, obviously. So if you don't mess up the guitar, if you don't mess up the nut shelf, I think for a beginner to just try to learn to install a nut is perfectly fine. But if you mess up the nut shelf, then you need to repair the guitar, right? I mean, that part of the guitar. So that's the part that I would worry about more. The nut itself, yeah, I mean, you're going to mess it up until you learn. If you have another blank, then just try again. Yeah, but brass is not the best material for a nut, in my opinion. In my opinion, the best material is actually nylon. It's really hard. it's really slippery. How do you know it's really hard? It's really almost impossible to cut it with the file. So yeah. So I think people say they want the brass nut because they like the sound. Obviously, you only hear the sound of the nut on the open strings. It makes no difference what kind of nut you have if you use a capo or on the fretted notes. So is the sound of the open string closer to the sound of a fretted string when you have a brass nut? Maybe, I don't know. So guitar frets are brass with nickel mixed in, right? Unless they're, other materials like stainless steel or whatever. EVO frets. So one would think that the sound of the open string would be a closer match to the tone of a fretted string if you have a brass nut. But I think there are other factors at play. Because the string is seated on inside of a string slot. And I want to show you what I mean. And we have a microscope, so I can show you what I mean. So I'm going to show you on this string here. I'm going to zoom in. Either one of those two strings. This one. So this is how the string vibrates here, right? So we zoom in, and this is how it vibrates. Same thing with this string, right? So it just bends right here, somewhere in this area. And this is how it vibrates. Depending on how tight the string slot is, it might move inside of the string slot a little bit or not. Hopefully not. Okay? But this is how the string vibrates. So that's the open string vibrating. Now, the question is, how does it vibrate when it's fretted? So let me zoom out a little bit. This is the string. Okay. So here you can see that I am pushing the string down against the fret, about where you would play it, right? And now I'm going to play the string. So this is not the same. I'm playing the string. And this is where I'm playing the string. So this is where I'm playing the string. And now, well, the only way I can switch it is like this. So you can see that this isn't the same thing that we've seen here. Okay, so we are here. Let me refocus. And again, I'm going to play the same string, open this time. And as I do this, I'm going to switch. You see that it's not moving inside of the nut. And one reason why we need to dial in compensation. Okay, compensation is what? Is this which we call intonation, right? Which we dial in here, is because of the way a string actually vibrates, and it doesn't vibrate the way most people think it does. So if I take this this thing, this is a let's imagine this is a string. I mean, it's not a rod, but it's the same thing. I can flex it like a string. And now, well, we're answering technical questions, right? So I'm going to place this string, let's call it a string, inside of the vise. Okay? And now we're vibrating the string. So this area right above or in front of the jaws isn't vibrating at all, right? There's a small section that isn't vibrating at all. Okay, so let's remember that. And now let me remove that. I'm going to put the vise away so that I don't damage the guitar. Okay. Okay, so now let's go back to our view through the microscope. So here we have a string that's vibrating. Well, there's a small section, a really small section, right here in front of the nut. Small section. Look, there's something here. Okay, that isn't vibrating. So the string actual takeoff point isn't exactly where the nut is. It's a little bit in front. So that there's like a dead zone, right? I'm vibrating the string now. Okay, so now what is the actual scale length of the string? So there's a little dead zone here, and there's a little dead zone at the saddle. So that's our actual scale length. And the frets are calculated, the positions are calculated based on where the theoretical scale length is. And now it doesn't vibrate the same way when you fret it down, okay? And then because of that, you got to move the saddle a little bit further away from the nut. And the other reason why you need to do that is because you are in fact bending the string a little bit before you can play it. You bend it towards the fret. So what happens when you bend the string? We all know when you bend the string like this, and you play it, that the pitch goes up. But the same thing when you bend it, when you fret it down, when you bend it towards the fret, the pitch goes up a little bit. So we need to make the pitch go down a little bit. You achieve that by lengthening the string, making it a little bit longer, but keeping the tension the same, right? So that's compensation. So now back to that question that Dr. Steve Cassidy asked. What was the question again? Any advice on the layman buying and install? Okay. Oh, the thoughts on the brass nut. Okay. Well, the question kind of like the answer took a life of its own, right? So I was just saying, people like to put a brass nut to make it sound more like a fretted note. And we've seen that there's a mechanical thing at play. So the string is actually sliding across the fret as it's vibrating. And also it's bending at the nut. But if we go back to our fret here, hold on, yeah. So if we go back to our fret, view right here somewhere. Focus. Where are we here? So it doesn't have that dead zone at the fret. It has that dead zone somewhere under the finger, but the string is sliding across the fret as it's vibrating. So those are some of the details to take into consideration. So to me, I've seen guitars with brass nuts, and when I play it open, I really can't tell you that it sounds the same as a fretted string. But it's always hard to tell because you're also hearing a different pitch. But if we look at how it actually vibrates, I think that those other mechanical aspects of how it actually vibrates from the nut or from the fret, that plays a bigger role than the material of the nut. How would the material of the nut even play a role? I don't even know. It's kind of like that device holding the string. What difference does it make if it's made out of brass or bone or plastic? I don't know. So someone needs to explain that to me, and I mean really explain, for me to start understanding how it makes the string sound different. And I mean really explain. And I'm listening. If people have an explanation, I'm open-minded. I'm not saying that there isn't one. I just can't come up with one on my own. So, but I'm listening, or I'm reading if people want to comment. Let's see. So Dr. Steve Cassidy says, thank you for this info. Massively appreciated. Thank you, Doctor. And then Dr. Steve Cassidy says, hugely informative, great explanation and demonstration. Thank you. Well, I thank you. So, yeah, you see, this is what these live streams are going to be all about if I continue. So, it's picking up. I got 7 viewers. So, yeah, friends. So, I want to do these live streams because I just want to help the community by spreading misinformation. So I don't want to say that I know everything. All I can do is share the experience and the information that I do know. Just like I might do on a guitar forum. Except here, I am getting paid, I guess, because I'm working on a customer's guitar. So I'm at work. It does slow down my work. I noticed. So it is costing me a little bit for now. So how is this costing me? Well, because I do pay rent here, right? So if I work slower, it's costing. This means that it's costing me to sit here because I pay rent. Business rent in the middle of Manhattan. Not the cheapest real estate on the planet. Yeah. I keep switching this thing here so that I can see when I switch cameras, if I want to switch, which right now I'm not doing. I'm not really doing a tutorial on how to file a nut. In fact, I think I'm going to wrap this up right now. I'm just prepping the guitar for a setup. Where's my, oh, I was going to say, where's my magnifying glass? Here in front of my nose. I can do a little better than this. I don't know if you noticed through the microscope, but there's string cheese on these strings. It's a made in Japan Fender Tele. And the owner, when he first texted me, said, you know, it was in a flood, so maybe there's water damage. I didn't see any water damage. So he said that, well, it was in a gig bag against the wall, and it flooded up to about here, or maybe a little beyond. Yeah, so I examined everything, no damage. It's poly finish, right? So it's basically plastic. So the water did go inside here, right? Through the side of the plate, but I looked inside and it all works fine. So he brought it here and I said, well, the minimum is always a setup here. I don't just do like a jack repair or something. And I only do a setup if the guitar will allow it. And in this case, we found out that the nut was high, too high. So we can't just do a setup because the results will not be satisfactory. And that's a setup question, right? Because you guys can ask setup questions here. So a setup is only as good as the guitar will allow it. And if the nut is too high, the guitar will not allow a good setup. So a setup isn't a repair job. It isn't a modification job. It's an alignment procedure. So if the nut is too high, you have issues that cannot be addressed by realigning or by you know, changing the alignments of the parts on the guitar, such as the truss rod adjustment, saddle height, compensation, etc. So I never agree to do a setup on a guitar, or I should say just a setup on a guitar, if I see that the guitar has a high nut. And people know that before they bring the guitars, because I have a PDF that I text to my customers, or at the beginning they are just potential customers, and I said, if you agree with this service approach, you know, then we're a good match, you know. So I don't force anyone to bring their guitars here, but we're doing it my way. Because when I was little, I would try to do what people wanted me to do, you know, like all kids. And sometimes the grown-ups were wrong. And now I'm the grown-up, and the customers are the kids. So they need to do what I say. So when I was little, I would try to do a setup on a guitar that doesn't take a good setup. So first of all, I would charge less because we're doing supposedly a lesser job, less involved. We're doing just the setup. Okay, so now the setup doesn't work out. So now what? Now they're telling me, oh, it's buzzing, this and that. So instead of just pay me and goodbye, now we're talking about the guitar buzzing and this and that. And when what I should have done was, like in this case, a nut repair maybe. So now I do it this way. I do a full assessment of the guitar, and like omakase. Omakase is the Japanese culinary experience. When you go to the restaurant and you don't order anything, the chef decides what you're gonna eat. So this is how it is here. And these tuners are really annoying, by the way. One of the most annoying tuners. I don't even know how you're supposed to remove the string. So how would a high nut make it buzz? Well, I got myself into this debate, so let me explain. Because that's interesting too. And I have this. And I have this. And I have more stuff to explain this. So we have this is the neck of the guitar. So we're looking like this, right? We're looking at the guitar like this. That's the neck. This is the string. And here we have, where's the penny? Here, okay. We have this. That is a penny. It represents a high nut. And then I have this thing that I like to use to explain the height measured at the 12th fret. So the 12th fret is here. You see a little check mark. So that's the height that we're trying to achieve for the action that we want, okay? So now this pick here, or maybe I use the white one, is the saddle, okay? So the saddle goes up and down, and that makes the string go up and down, and then we lower it to this height. So this is what the saddle is now, okay? All right? High nut, that's why we have the penny. That's the string height that we're trying to achieve. That's our measurement. This is this. It's the height string action gauge. That's the height measurement. So now, what happens when we play the guitar? We fret it down, right? Let's say here. So this is all exaggerated. But you can see how now this string is getting close to the adjacent fret, which is somewhere around here. And now when the string vibrates, it might hit that fret, okay? So now let's reset this whole thing like that. This is the string height that we're trying to achieve, right? For the correct spec. So now let's say that we file the nut down to the bare minimum. So I'm removing this penny. The saddle stays where it is for now. And this lowers the string here. So now we see that now our action is actually too low. We don't want that, right? We don't want action to be too low. We want it to be just right. So now we need to raise the string here. So now we've achieved the same action height. But you see what we need to do is we actually need to raise the saddle like this. So now we have this situation. We have more of a triangular geometry between the fingerboard and the string. So now what happens if we fret it down at the same fret here? We have this open space here. Okay, we don't actually need this. Let me move this away. we have more of an open space here when we fret it down here. So now when the string vibrates, it's less likely to hit the adjacent fret. So that's why, one of the reasons why you cannot achieve a good setup if the nut is too high. So, like I said, a long time ago, when I was little, I would try to do the best setup that can be dialed in, even if the guitar has uneven frets or a high nut or whatnot. And many times, the people who basically wanted to only pay for the more affordable service, for the cheaper service, would waste more of my time. Some of them, some customers. And then they would just be like playing a string. Did you hear this? It's buzzing. It's buzzing. Can you fix that? Yeah, but we have no. But my other guitar, the other tech did it that way, and it worked fine. And we didn't fix the nut. Yeah, the other guitar. Or even maybe the same guitar, but you know, whatever. Before the frets were worn down or something. So now, my policy is, when someone says, I want a setup. No, you don't want a setup. You want a high-performing guitar. That's what you want. And I will explain what that guitar needs to get the results that you want. Maybe it will be just a setup, but maybe it will be something else and a setup. And yeah, and with most customers, it works out when they come because they read my PDF and they agree to the terms. And then that's what it, you know, how we do the business. But sometimes customers say, you know, when I tell them, oh, you need fret work, you need, you know, me to fix the nut and then a setup. And they say, well, that's more than I wanted to spend, in which case I don't do the work, but I still charge for the assessment. And the way I do it, you know, I've changed my policy up and down, left and right over the years. But right now, I send them a link to book the appointment. And the way you book the appointment is you pay for the appointment. And the other advantage of that approach is that I spoke to my accountant. I don't need to charge sales tax on consultations. In fact, consultations are not subject to sales tax. So let's say if a service is $100, and it isn't, I'm just throwing a number there. If they pay $50 for the first part of the service, which is the consultation, there's no tax on that. So they will only pay sales tax on the other $50 of the total $100. So it also helps the consumers. Because if consultations aren't subject to sales tax, I shouldn't be charging sales. I shouldn't be collecting sales tax on consultations. And every service on a guitar, if you actually itemized what you do, it all starts with a consultation. So that's how it should be itemized, and that's how I do it. Okay, and let me check on that police activity. Sorry. Hold on. Just 3 question marks. All right. So now, let me read your comments or questions. All right. Hugely, okay. Dr. EC says, how do I accurately set relief if I do not have a set of feeler gauges? Well, very good question. So, first of all, these are cheap. So, I would say just get a set. Now, if you really want to improvise, so look, the relief, okay. Let me switch cameras here. So, the way I measure the relief is at the 8th fret here, okay? I measure it at the bass side and then the treble side. And I measure it on the bench, which means I want to make sure that I'm not adding relief to the neck, which means I put the neck rest here. In fact, in this case, this one might be better. It just goes like that, right? Now, I measure it here and here, just to see if it's different or if it's the same. And I want to make sure that the frets are even. And then if they are, I'm going to take my feeler gauges. And if the frets are even, if there are no issues, the relief that I usually go for is 6 1/1000ths of an inch or maybe 8 1/1000ths, okay? So now 8 1/1000ths is very close to 9 1/1000ths. And 9 1/1000ths is the thickness of a 9-gauge string. So you could just save a string end when you restring your guitar and keep that somewhere. And it's kind of a little more relief than what you really want, but it's still acceptable. I wouldn't go over 10 1/1000ths of an inch in relief. But you really can't set up the good relief. But it's not just the feeler gauge. It's the straight edge as well. Because I have these straight edges. These are the professional ones, StewMac. And I also have this. Well, this I don't use to measure relief. I use for other things on the guitar. But if I try to use this and I tested it, what ends up happening is, well, let me see if there's relief here now. Well, there isn't because I removed the strings. So now I can't show you. But yeah, this thing is slightly curved like a banana. So if you do it this way or this way, you will get a different relief measurement. So if you don't have a true straight edge, you really can't measure the relief. So the StewMac straight edges are very expensive. But these Music Nomad tri-beams are more affordable. And I rarely use these to measure the relief because I'm just used to using the StewMac straight edges, but I could. So now, where do you get them? Let me put a link in the description so that you can grab some if you want. So, you know what? I'll put a link at the end. So I don't know if I'm going to lose all the chat messages if I do this now. Yeah, how about I do this at the end of this live stream? So what I'll do is I will put this here in front of my computer, and that's going to be my reminder. Okay, how about that? Okay, there's another question here. So, Dr. Tomothy, with 2 Y's. Okay. Dr. Tom Timothy Morris says, how does the neck pickup work on a Fender Esquire when it's under the pickguard? Well, it's, no, hold on a second. It's not on the Esquire, like the old Esquire is just one pickup, right? But now they have these, what are they called? There's a name for those pickups that are under the pickguard, and that's the new Esquire, right? I believe so, right? So, I never actually worked on one, but I know what you mean, right? I know those pickups. I think they just must have stronger magnets. I don't know. I am going to build a Gauss meter one day. Here, I already have this vintage dial thing. Look at that. Let me show you a close-up. In fact, I already built a Gauss meter that I have at home, actually. Using another amp meter, amp dial, whatever it's called. But this one is a vintage one. This looks really good. It looks like it came from a cockpit of an airplane. So this is 0, and this is going to be south, I guess, and the other side is going to be north. So I'll be able to measure the strength of a magnet. So it's called a Hall sensor. And I'm not really good with electronics, but I did find a few schematics online, and I already made a Gauss meter that I said I have at home. And it works fine. But I want to use this thing to make a nice looking one. But I guess first time I have this guitar, and I guess it's an Esquire, right? You just said that. I'm going to measure if those pickups actually, if the pickup under the pickguard actually has a set of stronger magnets. That's what I think is the case, right? And those pickups have a name, and I forgot what it is. Right? Okay. So how does it work? It works the same as a regular pickup. A pickup is just an electric generator. It generates current. Small current, right? Let me see if I got a text message response. Not yet. Okay. All right, so what are we doing now? Let's clean the fingerboard. I have this brass brush. Protect the nut. So this is soft brass, much softer than the strings that normally hit the frets. And it's even softer than the frets. Not all brass is the same. Brass is an alloy. So they make different brass alloys, just like not all stainless steel is the same. So this technique removes oxidation from the frets, and also the little bristles remove whatever junk from the wood grain, and it exposes the open wood grain. And I find this to be a really effective method of cleaning a fingerboard well, not a maple fingerboard, right, with lacquer on it, right? But any kind of open grain fingerboard. Rosewood, ebony, real wood, not rich light. Okay, so now let's look at this. Let me show you what I was talking about. Here. Let's set it up. Man, I didn't show you a before and after, but here it is. So, yeah, so we removed junk from all these, you know, open, I don't know if I should call them open pores, whatever they are, right? So the fingerboard is pretty clean now. And now we are going to do a fret dress. So the procedure that I'm going to use today is going to be the following procedure. Like I explained in the previous live stream, we have a Tele with a truss rod adjustment here, and when you don't see two screws here for the height adjustment of the pickup, you will need to remove the pick guard to adjust the height of this pickup. But this also gives, because the two screws are here and here, but this also gives you access to the truss rod, and you will need this tool or one like it to adjust the truss rod. So now we want to have a little bit of a back bow for the following procedure. And I already know that we have a little bit of a back bow. Here, now I can use this tri-beam. This is a different tri-beam, by the way, right? This one has a notched, two notched edges and one straight edge. So, and I can see, I can feel that it's rocking a little bit because there's a high spot here, right? So that's what we want at this moment in time. Because what I'm going to do now is kind of like a light leveling job of the frets. Okay. I found this in a dumpster, but the dumpster was in front of a place that cuts countertops, kitchen countertops. So this was just a scrap piece. And it's completely straight and flat, and it's nice and heavy. So I just put 2 grits of sandpaper, and I just go over the frets a little bit like this. So first, actually, I'm almost forgetting. I want to go over with the fret rocker. I already did this when the strings were on, but now I have full access to the frets. So just want to make sure that I didn't miss something. Okay, so the fret rocker is limited, and I can get into this some other time. But anyway, here I use the coarse side first to kind of dress up a few frets at the same time. And then I can see where they're kind of shiny in this direction. And that's a good indicator that they're all completely perfectly leveled to each other. Now you can't see that level of detail with this camera here, but I can see it, and I think you know what I'm talking about. I see the reflection of the, so here it looks different. I went up and down with a brush, but now as soon as I hit it with this, I can see that it exposed the metal in a different way. And this is why we want to do the nut at the end. This is why I didn't spend too much time perfecting the nut just yet. Well, I did spend too much time because I was talking, because we're doing a Q&A, right? But yeah, without the talking, this would take less time. Okay, and now we have, so this is a coarse, a relatively coarse, relative, you know, this is the finer one. And I finished with this. All right. Put it back. I still haven't decided which polishing procedure to use today on this one. I do want to know, see my tri-beam is here, if this is an exact 25.5-inch scale. Almost. So I want to know this because hopefully I'll be able to use the fret shield, the 25.5-inch fret shield, this one. So all Fender guitars are not the same, even if they're all spec'd at 25.5-inch scale length. I did make a video about that, and this one is, yeah, good. All right. So it's not 100%. So what am I seeing here? It's like on this last fret, there's more space on this side of the fret and less on this side. And on this one is the other way around, more space on this side of the fret and less on the back side. But anyway, all the frets are poking through, okay, which is good. Which means we'll be able to use the fret shield. Yeah, polishing. Let's check your questions. Oh, no more questions, not just yet. Okay. 5 people watching. Well, make sure you hit like and subscribe. So I'm not sure when and if I will do these Ask a Tech live streams or not. I don't know. But you ask questions and I try to answer. And I don't have answers to all the questions. So I'll go like this. Okay, good. So this customer did text me a couple of times about some things that he was worried about after he dropped off the guitar, because I did tell him how we're gonna file the nut. So one thing that he was saying is, like I said, that, you know, we filed this to have a relief between 20 and 50 microns, 2 or 5 check marks on the, where is it, dial indicator, this thing here. And then he texted, oh, I want 5, not 2 check marks. It doesn't really work like that, but yeah. Let's say that I think I know what he wants, so I'll work with him on this. And he's a drummer, so he plays guitar a little bit, but he's really a drummer. Well, I'm getting a little bit worried about not receiving a text message reply. Because like I said, I had a situation, well, I didn't have a situation, but I received a text message where there was a situation that involved a 911 call. So I had to cut the previous live stream short. Do you guys have any more questions about doing a setup on a Tele? Because now's the time to ask. Because maybe next one will be ask me about doing finish repair. I don't know. I don't really like to get involved with finish repair. Oh, the other day I got a text message from a potential customer, never worked with him before, about fixing a guitar that's, it isn't beyond repair. I mean, I told him it's going to be a repair that's going to cost more than the value of the guitar. Let me see, what's his name? I think this is it. Okay, so so this is the picture, one of them. And that's the other picture. So we have a little more than just a bridge lift. So here we see this is the bridge plate that's under the soundboard. The soundboard is also broken, right? So, and we have a bridge lift here between the soundboard, whatever's attached to the bottom of the bridge, and the bridge itself. So this is repairable, but it's going to cost more than the guitar is worth. And I really don't want to take a job like that right now. bear with me. Okay. Here we go. Continuing. So I'll just do one pass with this. Sometimes I go through 2, sometimes 3 grits. It just depends on, as I'm learning, the condition of the frets. And I think this is going to work out just fine this way. I will see after I do the next stage on one of the frets. That'll be my test. Yeah. Need to open the door. So let's see. Do we have questions? No, not yet. Okay. I still have 6 people watching, according to the YouTube studio page. I'm not sure if these stats are updating accurately or not. All right. So those are rehearsal studios. People come here to rehearse. Obviously, that's what people do when they go to a rehearsal studio. The studio is Music Makers NY. And I just rent this little space from them in much the same way that their customers rent studio space, except I rent it monthly. So, hold on. I know I'm getting a little distracted, but I just need to follow up. Oh, I did get an answer. The police never showed up. Unbelievable. I don't want to get into the details of what happened, but it's one of those things that they really should have followed up on the... How can that be? if you make a 911 call and you're concerned for your safety because of 3 perpetrators, and you call 911 and they don't show up, so I guess I'll just continue working here. So we are going to, next we are going to polish the threads. And then I will clean the hardware. I need to decide if I am going to shim the neck. So yes, a little bit. You know, I find it that I pretty much need to shim the neck on every fender. So why don't they just do it at the factory? I don't know. So all they would need to do is to cut the neck pocket slightly at an angle. And then no shimming. But they don't do it that way. All right, so the first fret is going to be my test. And if I get the correct finish, then we just continue. If not, then I'll need to do another pass with a finer grit. By the way, I used 800 grit now. You didn't ask, but I still answered. So let me know in the chat, what do you think about this idea of doing this kind of live stream? Ask a tech. I mean, I think that that's a good idea. And if I can promote it somehow, I could get a, you know, nice little group watching every time. All right, let's see. Oh, I forgot to put this in the description, links to this. I will do it after the live stream. All right, let's check. Yeah, we're good. Okay. I'm happy about that. I don't need to put all the rubber bands. It's a little bit of an overkill. Sometimes I don't even put any. And, you know, this is a set of, what is this, 6 different polishing compounds. So one of them is for stainless steel frets, and, you know, there's like for different materials. The red one is good for brass. which means it's good for frets. Ah. So when the fret shield first came out, I bought right away two of them, the Gibson and the Fender scale. First time I used it, I didn't like it. But it is very useful. Oh man, I'm falling asleep. That's because I'm sitting now. It's not only because I'm sitting, it's because I don't sleep enough. So friends, do you have any more questions? I'm looking at the monitor. I don't see any questions. So today's topic is ask me about anything you want to know about doing a setup on a Tele. So you see, if I had a bigger audience, I'm sure I would be getting more questions. So I also have a Jeff Beck guitar here, the latest model that just came out, brand new. So I guess after I finish this guitar, which is taking too long, it's taking me longer because of this live stream, I guess I am going to record a review of the Jeff Beck guitar and then post it on the main channel tomorrow morning, maybe? I don't know. And people have been asking me to post the review of the Indonesian-made new standard Strat that I bought. I have it here. Actually there in the storage, in the vault, I call it the vault, storage space. And I started a new channel, and the new channel is not a guitar channel, not even remotely related to guitars. Ooh. So I've been working on the new channel for the past few days. So well, I will tell you what it is one day. Not just yet. Now I want to get visitors that are not crossing over from this channel or from any of my Guitar Quackery channels. So it's not a secret, obviously, but I want to see what the natural growth of the channel is for the first beginning period, whatever, without sending visitors from here. But like I said, it's not about guitars or even about music. It's not even about repairs. And it's not about amplifiers either, just in case you were thinking that. And I also have an idea for another channel, also not guitar related. It's such a good idea. I don't want to say what it is. But it would involve a lot of audience participation, as in live audience on the street. Not audience, just getting people to participate. And one day I thought that I found the perfect person to partner up with on that channel, because it was someone who is established in that field. And when I mean established, I don't mean like a famous person, but established person. So she just brought a guitar for me to work on. And we got to talk. And then I said, hey, let's do this thing together. Yes. And then nothing happened. Ooh. Sorry. So this is called Ask a Tech, and no one's asking. You guys are not asking. I got 2 more people watching. So I don't think there will be any more questions. But I guess I can just keep streaming. Ugh. All right, 3 more frets after this one. Two more. I could totally fall asleep now. Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm too old for this. Okay, one viewer left. And now comes the interesting part. As if this wasn't interesting. So now I'll remove the compound, buffing compound. Because we'll have to use a different buffing compound, so finer grit. Yeah. This one isn't good. Did I maybe skip it? Which one? This one. I don't know. I can't let it be like that. That's better. Okay. We're good. All right, but that's not it yet. There's more to come. More buffing. Oh yeah, the other day I was doing a live stream and I meant to say something and I forgot what it was. And after the live stream, I remembered. And I said, well, now, you know, hold on. Yeah, so I wasn't able to say what it was because I couldn't remember. And I did remember it after the live stream. That's typical, right? So, now I kind of don't want to announce it. I mean, I would be making an announcement for one person. What the hell? So my idea is to do some exclusive content on the main channel, basically. That's it. Not a revolutionary idea. And I already made one recording of a, what's the name of the bass? A Yamaha bass. Is it P or DX? How do they come up with these numbers, names? Let me see the order. So this one is partially completed, the one that's on the bench. Okay, let me see. Okay, here she is. TRBX 305 bass. TRBX. I don't know what that means. So it's an active bass, but without a bypass switch. And I figured out how to install a bypass switch. First, I try to Google to see if anyone has done it or not. No one. So I said, I'll do it. So yeah, so the TRBX bass, there's a 305, which is the one I had, and a 304. And it's an active bass without a passive switch. That's a bad design. Every active bass should have a passive switch. And people have been asking about this on the internet, on Talk Bass forum and whatever, other forums. And no one actually offered a solution. It says that one person is still watching. I guess that's better than zero. Although I'm not sure if this is an active viewer or maybe, you know, sometimes people just, you know, put the live stream on, then they just go to the other room to do something and maybe I should be standing, yeah. This way I don't fall asleep. wonder if I should take a break. I need to drink some water. Yeah, I'll try to record that review of the Jeff Beck Surf Green Strat. I guess I can show it quickly. The customer did ask me if, you know, it's ready. I said no. I said maybe today or tomorrow. It's here already. Here instead of over there. Over there meaning in the vault. 3 people came to pick up 1 guitar and 2 basses today. The guitar was the wild guitar that I was scanning, would doing 3D scans, and I did a nut repair on it, and then I did like a level crown polish, which I was not streaming live, but yeah, I did it. All right. I am too old for this. Yeah. Maybe I should retire. Yeah, like some people do. So the fret shields come with these black rubber bands. I guess they're pretty cool, black. I don't know where to buy them. I mean, I've used regular rubber bands, but the black ones look kind of cool. All right, so now let me make a decision here. Wow. All right. I'm going to clean everything, obviously. Have a look. Okay. The frets. Shiny. And now comes this toxic chemical. You know, I'm not sure if this might not be adequate because I'm always finding less of it inside. There's no real gasket here. gonna refill. And I'm running low. All right. That's the toxic chemical. That we like to use to clean. Oh yeah, and today I went over some invoices, and I realized that I undercharged a customer because I gave him 2 quotes, because we could have done option A or option B. And he chose option A, which was the more expensive option. But I had printed 2 invoices. And then I somehow I saved the wrong invoice, option B, which was a cheaper option. I ended up doing the more expensive job, you know, put the guitar away and everything. And it had the wrong invoice on the case. Man, I hate when that happens. And then I charged the wrong amount, not enough. So I'm gonna have to call the customer and explain. Oh, look, we got 2 new viewers. So I don't know if it's a couple of the old viewers logging back on. Well, if you're new to the show, we're doing this for the first time. This is Ask a Tech About. And the about today is about setups on a Tele. So no other questions today. But if you have questions about setups on a Tele, you can post your questions in the chat and I will answer. And I am doing a setup on the Tele today, which is why this is the topic. It's a Tele theme today. I have another viewer now. So do I need to repeat, or did you hear me? I don't know. It's always confusing during live streams. Okay, we're doing Ask a Tech About. And the about today is about setups on a Tele. If you want to know anything about setups on a Tele that you are dying to ask a tech, I am a tech, you can ask me. But it needs to be about setups on a Tele. Not about setups on another guitar. Well, I guess it could be. But if it's something, let's say, Les Paul specific, then we don't want to get into that because I have a Tele here. So, yeah. Okay. One more thing here. Oh no, I'm doing this wrong. First, we need to do the oiling. I didn't get enough sleep, and I'm making mistakes. It seems like there is a question. I gotta enlarge the screen. Good to go, Doc. That's doesn't have a question mark. Carpetus, Dr. Carpetus isn't asking, he's just commenting. Yeah, so it's a new idea, and I guess I want to develop it. Ask a tech about. And every time it's going to be about something else. And then eventually history is going to repeat itself, and it's going to be about the same thing. But it just makes sense to be about something that I'm working on. And today it's about setups on a Tele. Oh, and I never sent a link to the customer of this guitar. Hold on. Let me see. Let me copy. And gotta find him. What's the number? Order number? Here. All right. See, I sent them this, and my battery is running low. Always something. So the owner of this guitar might join us. I don't know. We have 4 viewers at the moment watching, not really asking questions. We did have some interesting questions and explanations today. All right. Okay, let me read your questions. At least tell me something. Do you think that's a good idea? I mean, this kind of live stream, ask a tech about. I don't think anyone else has done it. Not like this. Not to my knowledge. All right. So I rejuvenated the fingerboard. There you go. It's a made in Japan Tele. So I just polished these frets, and here they are, shiny. Okay. And now we continue. Any questions? Not more, but we do have one more viewer. So welcome to the show. Ask me anything about setups on a Tele, and I will answer. So I did a whole bunch of prep work in order to do a setup. And we are finishing up. I do need to clean the bridge. Let's see how we'll do, how we can do that. Not the easiest bridge design to clean. Okay, any questions? No questions. Nothing. I'm trying to scroll through. It's not scrolling. And we're back down to 4 viewers. So one of them gave up. But I do see that I need to tighten 2 of the screws. Okay. We good? So I said that I would shim the neck. So that's a setup issue. Oh. I guess I want to explain why. So we don't like to see these screws protruding from here. Put this camera away. So if we shim the neck here, it kicks the neck in this direction, which lowers the strings, which in turn requires the strings to be raised here, which drives the screws deeper into the saddles or barrels, whatever. So that's the idea. So I'm going to remove the neck and shim it. Wow, it's quite tight. So let's see if it wiggles. It does. Okay. So this neck is going to come out easily. And here, there's no shim. So I'm going to put a shim right here. And the shim that I use, that I like to use, is this thickness. Is just leftover sandpaper that I use from a fret job. And usually this is the thickness that does the trick. And here I'm just going to trim it. There is a question. So let me transfer this to that monitor so I can read the question or questions as I continue working. Oh, and a text message just came in. Hold on a second, I gotta read this now. If you get a minute, you think you can take a look at the acoustic guitar that's having issues. It has blue tape on it. So that's someone that works here. A guitar with blue tape on it. Okay. And do you know which guitar has blue tape on it?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
It's popping really low.
Yeah, bring it here.
I
Huh?
tested it Sunday, and I wasn't getting anything from the pickup other than pops.
Did you change the battery?
Yeah, I changed the batteries.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem like it's the jack. It seems like it's the actual pickups in there.
Okay. I'll have a look. Let me give him a thumbs up here. And where are we? Yeah, so I like to help out the studio. So they're having a problem with the guitar. So this is how I do it sometimes. And I will answer your questions. Just give me a moment here, because I need to continue making progress here. So this is it, right? This is the tape. It's self-adhesive tape. And now I just cut around it. Like that. All right, so this I save for later. And that's that. Now we can put the neck back. And here, now I'm looking at the questions. Let me see. Well, to be honest, I positioned the page a little bit incorrectly. I couldn't read it. Okay. All right. So Dr. Carpethus is asking, my player Tele came with a 6-saddle bridge. 6-string saddle sits right on top of the bridge screws. I know. Some say change the bridge to vintage brass saddle type. Others say no. Yeah. It's just beyond me how they do that. I cannot give you any guarantees that anything will fit, because sometimes things just don't fit right. And they have 2 string spreads on those as well. They have 2 and 3/16 of an inch and 2 and 1/16 of an inch string spread, which I'll show you after I flip it around, which means that the saddle, hold on. So the saddles are either wider or narrower, and then the compensation screws on the saddles, on the 6 saddles, are either closer together or further apart. The screw holes on the actual bridge plate. These here we only have 3, but you would have 6 of them. I know. I honestly don't know how to advise you on this one, especially without having the guitar here. And then he's asking, which bridge does the good doctor recommend? Again, it's very important to know if you have a string spread of 2 1/16 of an inch or 2 3/16 of an inch. Now, on a Strat, you can change that. On a Tele, that's not the case. And the reason is because of these holes. So you cannot put a narrower bridge if the Tele had a wider bridge before, because these holes are further apart. And I've measured Tele bridges, and I've measured that some of them have 2 1/16 string spread, and some have 2 3/16. So that's how it is, according to measurements that I actually took off of guitars. And sometimes that's not even listed as a spec when you're ordering a new Tele bridge. And I'm sure that some people have purchased bridges that didn't fit. So it is my understanding that they basically changed the neck pocket size, or the width of the neck, at some point in the past, and that the people working with Leo Fender at the time told him, hey, you're going to have to change the bridge as well. But retooling to make this part is a big deal. And he said, no, that's too expensive. We're not going to do that. It's good enough. That's what I heard. But I don't know. I wasn't there. I got to check what kind of strings we're putting on this guitar. Just bear with me a moment. Did I close the page? Oh, no, here it is, right in front of me. Okay, we are putting XS 9 to 42. Just what I thought. Okay. And I have them right here. XS 9 to 42 strings, the Dario. So I did send a link to the customer, the owner of this guitar. So, not sure if he's going to join us or if he's already watching. But we are finishing off this thing. All right, so these are coated strings. They have the coating that you pay extra for, which means you don't want to damage it. So now when we string through the body, we don't want to rub against the metal parts too much, so we want to be gentle. Feed the strings through gently. It's difficult for me to answer which bridge do I recommend for a guitar that I'm not seeing in front of me. sometimes parts just don't fit. I've been there many times. And tomorrow I need to call the customer that picked up the guitar last week, and I discovered that I undercharged him. And that's never a pleasant conversation. But I do need to get paid for my time. Because he did choose the more advanced, expensive option. Well, he did agree to the price. And neither one of us noticed that it was the wrong price when it was picking up. So I raised the saddles a little bit. And I don't like these tuners at all. These locking tuners, not this type. These are very annoying. So if the idea is to string it quickly, these don't do the trick. Too many adjustments need to be made. And now look at this. Still nothing. God damn it. Oh, come on. I don't like tuners that fall apart into multiple pieces. Just what you need if the string breaks during a performance. Yeah. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, I'm using the wrong hand, that's why. All right, now it's gonna work. All right. All right, so we have this. Trim. See, it doesn't want to go through. Now this doesn't want to go through, you see? So I gotta use my left hand. Okay. Same situation. This goes through and then this doesn't. God damn it. One more half turn. I hate these tuners. Especially string removal. I think they're the go-to tuners, these. I'm not sure if it says on the back. We'll have a look. Who's there? Oh, people are leaving. All right, let's see. So, thank you for your answer. We'll need to measure before doing anything else. Yeah. That's one measurement. There's other measurements. But those bridges are annoying. You know, they haven't figured this out yet. After all these years. Okay. All right. Recycling. I still need to file the nut a little bit. Strings are a little bit too low. Okay, no problem. I gotta raise them a little bit. That's why we shim the neck. And we're using now 9-gauge strings. It had 10-gauge strings on before. So that obviously is going to affect the relief. Yeah, let me see. So we weren't getting the good relief before. And I'm just worried that maybe the neck will go into a back bow now. Let's see. Because we have less tension now. we only had 2 1/1000ths of an inch on this side, right? If I remember correctly. It's a differential relief. And now we don't even have that. Yeah, which is why I was hearing a little buzzing. So let's do this. Release the truss rod a bit. Now it's completely loose. Okay. Let's see what we got. Oh, here. Okay, so we have more than 2. 3, 5. Okay, so we're getting a decent relief on the treble side. So I do need to tighten it a little bit, thankfully. Let's see what we got here. 5, 6. Six doesn't fit. 5 fits. And what do we have on the base side? So we know we have a differential relief. So let's try 8. 8. 11, too much. 12, wow. 13, look at that. 14, amazing. 14, way too much. So we need to tighten it, obviously. More. $14 doesn't fit. 13 doesn't. 12 doesn't. 11 doesn't. That's good. 8 fits. On this side, 8 doesn't. 6 does not. 5 does not. 4 does not. 3 does not. And then we have 2 also doesn't. So now we need to release it a little bit. Again, we need some relief on this side, and we're going to have too much on this side. Two does fit. 3, what is this, 6? No. 5 fits, so we're back to where we were. So five doesn't. 4 kind of fits. I'm gonna go to 3 because we got too much relief on the base side. Just a little bit. Okay, that's 4 doesn't fit. 3 still doesn't. Ah, god damn it. Okay, so this guitar isn't cooperating. It's a Japanese Fender. 3. Okay, 4 doesn't fit, but 3 fits. So that's the relief we have here. 3 1/1000ths of an inch. And here it is. 3. But then on the bass side, we're going to have, I'm going to start with this 12. See what we got. So that's 12. Fits, you see? 13. It still fits. 14. No. Okay, that's the best we can do. 13 1,000ths, 3 1,000ths. We'll see how it plays. I didn't adjust the action. I'm just kind of testing. So these are two high, the bass strings on the bass side. Okay, had a friend named Jeff Boyle, lived in Virginia. I'm reading your comments. All right, so I did file at early on at the beginning, the strings on the treble side, E, B, and G. And now, because we had 46 gauge strings on the guitar before, I'm sorry, 46, 10 to 46, but the customer wants 9 to 42. So I couldn't file the string slots on the bass side with the thicker strings on because I got to use the thinner files, smaller gauge files. And I don't like to file the nut with the new strings on if I can avoid it. But right now we don't have a choice. So this is the string here, and we see it through the microscope. You can see that it's a coated string. It's got this coating on. You can see that little web coating. You can see that. Okay, so we'll remove the string, and I already put a pencil mark there. You can see that. And now we file it. With a 42 gauge file, you can see that. Okay, and now we clean up. And we are just eyeballing for now. Way too high. You can even see that on camera how high it is. You can still see how high it is. Getting there, obviously. getting there. I'll take a quick measurement. Still too high. About double the distance that we want. It's nicely seated at the front, a little slack at the back end. But it's still too high. Seems to be too high, but I just want to take a measurement. The customer did tell me that he wants it a little higher than the minimum height, and I think we're there right now. Yep. Okay. So, so this one's done, and now we need to fix this one, the A string, which we use a 32 gauge file for that one. That's this one. That's the file, 32 gauge file we're going to use. They were really, really high. Still too high, but I just want to take a measurement. Okay. Okay, that's how he wants it. And now we file the D file, D string slot. So it's a 9 gauge set. This is a 24 gauge file. We have here the 24 gauge file. You can see that for the string. You can actually see how, because I already filed these, and you know, I'm gonna double check everything, but this one is the last remaining. So and you can see that it was hitting the nut at the back end. We don't want that, so we want to reshape that first. First we reshape the back end to make sure it's lower, and now we do the whole thing, the whole bottom of the string slot, and we're doing that this way. So we keep it curved with a low spot at the back end. Still too high. Too high. Just a little too high. I'm possibly putting the finishing touch right now. Yeah, just the way he wants it. About 50 microns. So this customer did ask me to go on slightly the higher side of the tolerance. Yeah. Let me check the heights of the low E, which is just a bit too low. Now it's going to go higher in pitch, but we'll retone it. And the high E, which is also too low. So what I do now is after I set up the high E height where I think it should be, I try to bend it. So I try to do this. And I listen to the clarity of the sound. If it's choking, that means it's too low. So I'm going to have to raise the others, which means I lower the pitch a little bit. So this doesn't look like a 9.5-inch radius. Let's see what it is. We'll match the radius. I think I already measured it, but forgot. Let's try 10, just for fun. Seems to be matching a 10-inch radius. And that's the 10-inch. Let's take the 9.5. So I think it's going to fit through the middle here. Not really. So I guess it is a 9.5. See, with a really thin feeler gauge. Seems to be a 9.5. Let me check the 10 again. So in this case, I guess it's going to fit on this. Oh, here I'm writing over a string. Yeah, you see, you see, I can fit it here. Okay, so it is a 9.5. Okay. So now I'm going to use this 9.5-inch radius to match the radius across the saddles to the radius of the frets. This one needs to come up. So I want to start with the middle strings a little too high. So the two E strings are now, not playing out clearly. I can hear the A play out, and I lower it until I hear that vibration and I feel it. It transfers through the radius gauge onto my fingers. So now that was the A. Now the D. Just a little adjustment. Actually, the A's got to come down just a little lower. Yeah, good. Okay, B. That's it. So we just matched the radius across the saddles to the radius of the frets. Okay, now and now okay, I think it plays good now. Okay, so now the intonation, compensation, whatever you want to call it, is going to be, you know, just what it can be when you can't really dial in each string individually. So we find a you know, a good compromise. So those are both too flat anyway, so this goes forward a little bit. Retune. Let's try the low. So the neck has too much relief on the bass side. As a result, we can get a little bit of this situation where now this part of the fingerboard is closer to the strings than we want. So it has a differential relief. We would want to, you know, need to do like a refret and resurface the fingerboard in order to really fix it properly, which we're not doing. I want to hear what it sounds like plugged in, because you're always going to get some buzzing through the, I mean, without the amp. So now, what do you do about the G and the D? That you can never dial in properly between the G and the D. That's pretty good. So this is going to come forward a little bit more. Just a little bit. Okay, if you insist. Better. So now I wish I could pull it back because now the B is playing sharp. So let's find a spot here. Again, you know, these are annoying. You know, if you get one, you don't get the other. Right. Well. It's got a four-way switch. Okay, I think it's going to be as good as it gets. So as you saw, we have an issue with a differential relief that's a little too differential than we want it to be. But we just try to do the best we can with what we have. You hear this? Triboelectric effect. I don't know if this mic is picking it up. This, you hear it through the amp. Video about the triboelectric effect. You know, kind of inside of the wires. Okay. All right, let's see if there are any questions because this is a Q&A. Okay. Good vibrations. Decades ago, wow, I lived there too. Kennedy was shot when I lived in Virginia. Oh, okay. Cool enough. The Jeff I knew lost. Okay. No worries. It's a chit chat. I moved from DC to Philly. Okay, no problem. No questions. Okay, friends. I'm going to put the pick guard back. Oh, well, I might as well do it now. Where's the screwdriver? The other one, here. So I just kind of place the screws where they need to be. And then I'll use the power tool. A couple of my struts do that effect. Goes away with a dryer sheet. Yeah. There's also like a spray, like anti-static spray, something like that. I put it on one just as a safety, but I actually don't drive them all the way. Okay. And now I just tighten them. Okay. Yeah. Nice little guitar. Let's put some wax on the back of the neck. So the wax, I just spread it, thin layer, very thin layer, and just buff it without kind of like trying to remove all of it, right? Obviously, just buff. It makes it smooth. And this is it. Friends, I gotta go because, oh yeah, I was gonna show you the other guitar. Let's see. This is this guitar that belongs to the studio they want me to look at. It's a beat up guitar. So, Jeff Beck, Surf Blue, Custom Shop, Fender, Strat. Jeff Beck signature thing on the back with the headstock. Here it is, with this kind of nut, the roller nut. Okay, I don't like these tuners, by the way, but here they are. And then there's this bridge plate, which I also don't like. I don't like these. And they, you know, they don't do a good setup. Look at this at the custom shop. They didn't do it this time. This is all sticking out. So this is brand new. Has never been played. It was just delivered from a popular retailer. So I got some dust from the thing. But yeah. Okay, so the lighting is tricky here. So you can see this sticking out. Okay, so what they need to do is they need to do a neck tilt. It doesn't have the micro adjustment, which means you need to shim the neck, what we did with the Tele, so that the strings come too close to the frets, and then you need to raise them up a little bit, which means you're going to end up driving the screws deeper inside, and they will not be sticking out like this. I'm not sure if Jeff Beck liked to scratch his, hand, if this is like the signature thing, but that's not, good. And the other thing is that you can see how it's not even, raised a little bit. I mean, it's barely raised from the bridge plate. So I'll be, if everything goes well for the rest of the evening, my evening, I will be recording a review of this, and then I guess tomorrow I'll work on it, and I guess tomorrow I could publish the review on the main channel. Yeah, okay. Okay, friends, so this is it for the Q&A. Ask a Tech live stream. Let's see if there are any more questions. No worries, blah, blah, blah. I moved from DC. A couple of my stress do that. Okay, I like pick holder. Pick holder on Tele. I don't know. Too much work for custom shop to do it right, even though you're paying a premium price. I'm not paying. Well, too much work. I don't know. I don't know the answer. It's a big factory, so. But it will be reviewed. I just report what I see. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, friends, thank you very much. How many people are still watching? 6? It's been a pleasure. And now I gotta go take a break, and then I'll record a video for you to watch on the main channel. Hopefully I will do that. Okay, good night.